Very nice to meet you all. Before I even begin, I just want to have a little bit of understanding of who you are and what stages are you at. So I heard you all are startup people, basically. So basically, my talk will be a little bit about the entrepreneurs and not about the UX people. This is my background. I never studied UX. I never studied product. I never studied any of these things. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how do you approach it when you don't have any experience, other than, of course, being in conferences like this and hearing out and watching YouTube videos and just talking to a lot of people, which is the best way to kind of get a first grasp and just understand even the importance or keeping it in mind. And a little bit about the other things you can do and your biggest advantage, which is basically that you are the people that have the whole picture of what you're doing. No one else has it. No one else has the wide picture. No one understands what you're doing now. What are your dreams about it? How big it can be? What stages are you at? Why are you not doing this right now? So this is all you guys. So that's the biggest advantage that I found myself, at least in Trench. So just a little bit about Trench and my background. I didn't come from this industry at all. I used to work at the Central Bank of Israel. That's where I started as an economic research to the head of the monetary department. That has a little bit of to do with what I do today. Other than that, I was a management consultant. And when I started Trench, I basically had no idea what startups require, about technologies, about anything. I don't know how to write a single line of code, and I definitely didn't know anyone in this field, so I had no partners, basically. So the fact that I'm a single founder is not because I wanted to do it by myself, but it was just because I had no one else to work with, so I just started. I hope that for you guys it's different. I think it's easier, even though I'm kind of used to just doing it by myself for now, and I already have a team, and it's a management team, and they're strong, so it's good. But it's always best to start with someone else that brings something new to the table. But yeah, I think that in order to start this with nothing, it's basically really understanding what are you trying to give your users, and above that also the experience that you're creating for them. Because if you treat not every screen that you do, but the whole thing is an experience, everything else will kind of align to it. So Trench is basically a never-ending wardrobe. It allows women to renew their wardrobes on a daily basis and without opening their wallets. So basically what I did is I took this fantasy of myself and I think many other women in the world, and just saw how do I make this fantasy come true. And everything that happens through that is just a matter of, I guess, riddles and answers. So I didn't know that's the title. So yeah, that's the first thing. It's basically understanding what it is you're doing. So if I have my one-liner, the role of it is not just to go to investors and pitch with it, but understand always if what I'm doing right now answers that. Because it's so easy to get distracted by 1,000 things. And when I started, it was basically the riddle of how do I do that. So just I'll give you a short brief of Trench just because so you'd understand what are we doing and my perspective on things, so you'd just be in the loop. Basically, I realized that women don't wear 70% of their wardrobes. So all the things that you see in these closets are not being worn, but also they're not being taken out. And the reason is that we are emotionally attached to those things. We just bought them. We wore them just a amount of times, and we feel like we didn't use it enough for the money we spent on them. It doesn't really matter why, but the reality is that 70% are not being used, but also are not being taken out of the closets, not to friends, not to eBays or eBays for fashion. There are a few of these too. And they're just staying there. So the intuition was pretty strong. Like, this could be the solution. And then it started with a lot of questions on how do you do it? How do you get people to actually take these items out of their wardrobe and create a marketplace around that, because obviously money didn't solve it. There are a lot of existing marketplaces, and the premise is get a little bit of money back, which is usually only 20-40% of the price of the item, and that's not the premise women want. And to understand the premise, to understand the never-ending wardrobe, that this is what women want, I was able to see that the current premise that usually my competitors offer is not the premise that we want, and it doesn't solve also the emotional connection. So even if I was able to get a much bigger value on the items I'm selling, I wouldn't get rid of things I kind of wish or hope or think that maybe I'll wear in the future. So from that, basically, trend started. We understood that the only way to get these things out of the closet is if you see something that you like better. And we created, back then it was me, I created a marketplace with a digital currency called diamonds. And basically the diamonds weren't created because I wanted to have a currency. It was created because that was the solution. It means that if you want something that you see on trends, your only way to get it is to go into your closet, dig in, find something that would be worth something to someone else, and post it. And if no one wants your item, you're not going to have diamonds in order to shop. And the diamonds allow different values and trading with lots of people and different times. So you basically have a way to get out things that you're not using anymore. Because you always see something that you want, it makes it so easier to kind of run into your closet and look for something that you'd rather have the new thing rather than it. So that was the intuition. And I think just the process of everything that we've built was really based around that user experience and around a lot of riddles and answers. So that was one of them. And I can give you other examples. So we understood that if we want the items to be quality items in great condition and that people would care about it, then we need to make it about the people, not about the items. So if a user, for example, has their online closet and people go into that closet and it's connected to their Facebook account so people can see who they are, suddenly it really matters to me that I take good photos. It really matters to me to upload things that people would actually like because this represents me. So that's why we built it as a social platform. Another reason, we figured how to do fast content curation. How do you get lots of people to find things that they would like in a very easy, fast way? And again, we could have thought about complicated algorithms or using another company in order to solve that. But then we realized that the social network also does it. Like, just imagine how your Instagram feed looks like. It's only stuff that you like. It's only pictures that you love seeing. And it's because the content curation is based on people. So you basically follow the people that you like. You only see things that you like. So that was another example of kind of why we did things. Another intuition was that when Trench is also to understand what are you and what you're not. And with Trench, we don't control the supply at all. We're item-based, not product-based. It means that if you see this dress on Trench, that would probably be the only one you find. You can't buy it in other sizes, in other colors, and there's only one to grab. So when you understand also what you are, you understand your limitations, but your limitations are also your strength. So it was, also, again, the riddle of how people, when you're not hunting to someone, how do you usually shop? So for women, a lot of the times, most of the times, we're not hunting for a specific item. We're not looking for a red dress. It happens, but most of the times we just want to shop. And we want to shop by style, and we want to shop just for something that makes us feel good. So it doesn't matter if it's going to be a skirt or a scarf. It's just going to be something that we like. So when you go into a store, for example, you go there because you expect to find the things that you like most in the easiest way. Like your statistics is just best if you go to that store. So again, we built it around the closets of the girls, and that means that if you go into someone's closet and you like her closet, you're so likely to find something that you like. And it's a lot more specific than a style of a store. So those are a few examples of Trench, and I think I think that if I would have sat with someone that does UX, UI back then, I don't know if they would have understood the delicacies within just 1 hour of a conversation. And a lot of them are amazing, and now I'm working with an amazing one. But first it took time to find someone that I really connect with, which is, I think, the most important thing. But also, you need the depth of the understanding, and only you have it. So even if you have the budget and you take a great UX person, you're the ones that have to keep reminding them, okay, that's great, but it's great for this and this condition, and our condition is different because this and this and that. And I think just the riddles and the answer system is just the best one to kind of understand where to approach and what to do and what not to do. Second is I want to talk to you a little bit about what you do when you don't have much, kind of like the MVP stage. So when I started and I had no technology, I just tried to figure out how to start. And I had this fantasy of like this huge platform, and it's a huge social network. And wherever you go in the world and you open Trench, you can see closets that are right around you. And you can actually go into these closets in whichever neighborhood you're at and see things and get things directly without even waiting for delivery and without spending money. So from that, to even start with something, it was really to understand what are the crucial parts, what are the parts that are needed the most. I guess all of you kind of have these debates too regarding your MVP. Mine started as an Excel spreadsheet with a Trench fashion party where people just traded items, but they had the value of the diamonds. Then I took 4 platforms and combined them together to kind of create it. And then I realized that I was really frustrated because when I started, it's basically, I had no budget, I had big fantasies, I didn't even know what an MVP is, and reality forced me to kind of tone down. And I want to show you the first screen that we had. It's a screen from the first version of Trench ever created. It was, I used an existing tool. I used an existing platform, and it was ugly, but the value was so great that it just worked. And then I understood the power of language. I couldn't do much without writing code, and I suddenly learned how much can you do with just words. This is the most extreme example I have. We actually had a field that's called skip the field below, not for use, which is for someone that does UX UI in a more advanced stage, or for a classic user that goes into it for the first time, or to anyone. It looks extremely unprofessional. But it also worked. We had a field, it was auto sale, and basically it means that you can choose a number and it will approve that number of sales to anyone that requests. So if someone requests to buy your item, you can approve to 3 different people, and you don't even approve. It happens automatically. And it caused, of course, a lot of problems. First thing I did was just to go there, change the text. We stayed with it for 9 months, I think. It was crazy. But it worked. Another thing that I understood about the power of text is that was the only thing I could change on that specific platform. I also had 3 other platforms that was connected to it. But also, I kind of thought, okay, with the experience, what is Trench within this experience? So the girls are coming for a never-ending wardrobe. Is Trench the never-ending wardrobe? Is Trench your friend? Like, what is it? And the second I did that, kind of decided, and also it's a lecture I saw on YouTube that says, like, kind of find the character of your app. And I really used that, and I decided that Trench is your friend, and it helps you, and it's always there to protect you and help you to find things that you like. And all the wordings that we used was your closet instead of my closet, and it was hey babe, and lots of things like that. And for example, now that I have finally a marketing person, I took her because she just got it right away. So she's doing all the text on Trench, she's doing everything, and I don't even have to guide her, because the second you have something that is defined, or a goal, like a never-ending wardrobe, or trench is the friend that helps you. So no, it doesn't matter who's working on it, we are all aligned. So it looks like the same person is almost doing everything. So I think the power of language was really something that I realized can deliver a lot. The other thing about the language, the power of language, is also like the power of the words itself. So when I started and wasn't that great, instead of kind of pretending to be a big successful company, I was very honest with my first users. I told them that we're just beginning. I told them that it's not going to work well. I told them that it's not going to look nice. But I also told them that it's going to be shaped and based upon their behavior and upon what they do with it and upon their needs and requests and upon whatever they say to us. And that worked also very well. And until today, we're very, very straightforward with what we're doing in every single stage. When we did a POC at Northwestern University, the first day was a catastrophe. It took for each page 10 seconds to upload, which for a 20-year-old girl, it's like, it just doesn't exist. And we had a trench party with 40 girls with their clothes coming to swap. And we basically just said, hey guys, we know it takes forever to upload, but we're building it. It's just the beginning. So we just suggest that take your time. We know it's annoying, but we want to hear from you what, other than, of course, the speed, what's the one thing you're missing the most? And they were missing the search field, which we had planned, but of course it was an MVP when we started building, and it was very lean. And that was the first thing that we implemented. And 2 weeks later, when it was faster and we had the search, they felt very important. They felt like we're listening to them. So that also really helped. Get your first users to also help you with building. That's another great tip. Get them to be part of the experience for the beginning, of course. It's going to change. Create a community around it. Because the community is part of the experience that gets the early adapters to kind of stay there and hang on until it gets better and better. The one last tip that I have is when it comes to prioritization. Of course, now we have a platform, we're building it, I have a team, we have technology, and now it's just a matter of like what to do first, which is very hard. The beginning, we just tried to build everything all at once because we already knew what we want. That was a mistake. Then we started understanding that we need to prioritize better. And I learned that the best way to prioritize is not to do a whole list and decide what to do now. Don't be scared of forgetting something. You'll always remember if it's important. Just stick to 3 things that are great for the next version. And these things always have to answer a goal as well. You want people to share it? Focus on 3 features that would do that. You want people to spend more time? Focus on 3 things that do just that. That's my last tip. And it's all from my experience. I guess it's different for every single person. Thank you.